figuring out the area of your room is something that you can do if you're in grade 4. That means we start working with area a bit more in grade 4. In grade 3, it's perfectly okay for you to figure out the perimeter of an object or a perimeter of a space and stop there. That's probably as hard as the math needs to be for you at that point. Okay, so now we get to use the graph paper that I sent you. And if you don't have any graph paper, well, I'm hoping that you can find some. If you don't have any at all, that's okay. You can make your own graph paper, and all you have to do is just use a ruler and mark out the centimeters and try to make a grid out of that as well. Now, I did send 3 pages home with you. I'm hoping that you have that still. So on the top of my graph paper, I've written down my bedroom. And now I'm going to write my bedroom area. Okay, and then today's date. And what I've done is I've taken my sketch and I took a look at how far it is around my bedroom, the perimeter of my bedroom. Those measurements are right here. So I have 12 and a half, 11, 12 and a half, 11. What I'm going to do is make each one of the squares on my graph paper one of those shoes, one of those lengths, so that when I make it all the way around, I'll have my bedroom drawn again, and it'll be easy to find the area. The area is how much space does your bedroom take up? Not just around the bedroom, but what about all this space? If we were to fill your whole bedroom with the thing that you measured with, in my case, shoes, if we were to fill the whole thing, how many shoes would it be to fill up your whole bedroom? Now this probably, it's not quite exact because your shoes aren't a square, but that's okay. We're going to get as close as we can. So what I've done first is I've picked a point where 2 lines meet on my graph paper, somewhere not quite at the edge of my page, but more into the middle of the page. So I started in this corner over here. And then that's like this corner. And I've noticed that it is 11 shoes across. So what I'm going to do is count 11 squares over. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've made a dot over there. So I'm not drawing lines yet. I just want to have 2 dots. That way, if I make a mistake, I just erase a dot and don't have to erase the whole line. And then I'm going to go back to my sketch. Take a look. Oh, 12 and a half on this side, 12 and a half on that side. So now I'm going to count down from that point right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and a half. So I'm going to go in between the 2 boxes, make a point there. And because it is a rectangle, I don't even have to count this side. I can just see where that would line up over here. If counting is something that you need to do, that's okay too. And then I have all of my 4 points to draw the perimeter. So I'm going to do that with my ruler to make sure that I have lines that are nice and neat. And then what you'll be able to find out is the perimeter, find out the area of your room. There's a few ways to do this. The easiest way is to count up all of the squares inside of the shape that you just made. So there is my bedroom if I were to show it with shoes. So you can just simply count all of these over here. And what is important when we make a diagram like this is to have pictures, numbers, and words. So we've drawn part of our picture. We have some words to explain what it is. And now we need the numbers. So we're going to be making this easy enough so that anyone that looks at this picture, this diagram, knows what we're doing. So there, the area of my room is, and then you can simply count up how many it is for the whole space. And once I'm done, I'll show you how many it is for mine. Okay, so here is my completed area for my bedroom. And I needed a title, and then I wrote down my answer first. Before I figured out my work, I left space for the answer, so I wrote down the sentence of my answer first, the area of my room, is equal to, I found out that it was 137 and a half square shoes. Now the reason we say square is because these are squares. And what I figured out is first we had to write down or figure out the perimeter, right? That was, we drew the shape of our room, and then we filled in the area. So the reason I do this is to make sure I can get an accurate number, and I'm not just multiplying them together. So creating the picture makes so that it can be very accurate. And I know that I was counting correctly, that I didn't miss any numbers, because I can look at the last number in each row and it goes up by 11 each time because it was 11 shoes wide. And so when I got to the bottom, I had 12 and a half. That half gets a little bit tricky. So once I got to the end of my last full square, which was 132, then I had these half squares to count. So the next one after 132 was 132.5, because there's only half of a square right here. So that means I have to show the half. And then if I add another half to that, it goes up to the next whole number, so to 133. Add another half, 133.5. Then another one, 134. And I keep going in that pattern until I get to the very end, which is 137.5. So if you have those halves, it can be a little bit tricky. If the halves and the decimals are too tricky to figure out, then just either make the room a little bit bigger so that you go to the next whole number. Instead of 12 and a half shoes, I could have made it 13 shoes. Or shrink it down a little bit so that it would be without the decimal, either way, making it bigger or smaller. Okay, so that is the challenge for the area of your measuring your space. It is certainly a lot to work with, but I think that you guys are ready for it. It's getting to that point of the year where you can do so many more things in math. And if you do have any questions, please let me know and I'll be happy to help you out. Good luck, and I'm looking forward to seeing your work when you turn it in. Thanks, kids.